The Marvel Cinematic Universe keeps growing and growing. In recent years, however, many fans have had the impression that the quality has steadily gone downhill. The people in charge have now promised to do better. In the future, it's supposedly all about quality over quantity. The next 2 years will show whether MCU boss Kevin Feige and his team can deliver on this promise. In this video, we provide you with a full overview of all upcoming MCU movies and series for 2025 and 2026. We are looking forward eagerly to the series Daredevil Born Again, in which Charlie Cox can once again be seen as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. Getting there was far from easy. Marvel boss Kevin Feige originally didn't want to integrate the character into the MCU at all. As criticism of the development of the franchise continued to grow, they resorted to calling a halt in the middle of production. Episodes that had already been filmed were scrapped, and the creative team behind the series was replaced. It seems that the creators have listened to the fans. The series will now have a higher standard of quality and be more closely aligned with the popular dark Netflix original, including the return of the familiar actors. In addition to Charlie Cox as Daredevil, the cast also includes Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin and John Bernthal as Punisher. Deborah Ann Woll as Karen Page and Eldon Henson as Foggy Nelson also return to the set for Disney's continuation of the series. The first trailer shows a tense conversation between Matt Murdock and Kingpin, repeatedly interrupted by brutal fight scenes. One thing becomes clear: Disney seems to have made no compromises when it comes to violence. Daredevil Born Again premieres on Disney Plus on March 4th, 2025. In Captain America 4: Brave New World, Sam Wilson is getting his own solo adventure as the new Captain America. The movie is set to take on a similar thriller vibe to Winter Soldier, one of the most popular Marvel movies ever. In addition to Anthony Mackie as Captain America, Harrison Ford will also appear as the President and transform into the Red Hulk. This time, it was not the Russo brothers who directed the film, but Julius Onah, who has so far mainly made a name for himself with smaller projects. The first trailers for the movie suggest an exciting balance of action and political intrigue. Captain America 4 will be released in cinemas on February 14th, 2025. Many MCU fans were emotionally moved when Iron Man sacrificed his life in Avengers Endgame. Now, the young tech genius Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, is set to take on Tony Stark's legacy in the series of the same name. She first appeared in the comics in 2016 and went from being a brilliant MIT student to a superhero. In the MCU, she was brought to Wakanda in Black Panther 2, where she built her first suit. In the series, she then returns to MIT to face new challenges, both personal and supernatural ones. Riri meets Parker Robbins, aka The Hood, played by Anthony Ramos. He possesses magical powers that make him extremely dangerous. He is joined by Ezekiel Stane, who will be a powerful adversary with Stark technology and cybernetic augments. The first season comprises 6 episodes and was produced by Black Panther director Ryan Coogler. The debut of Marvel's Ironheart on Disney Plus is scheduled for June 24, 2025. In Thunderbolts, Marvel brings its own version of an anti-hero team to the big screen, which is strongly oriented towards the concept of the Suicide Squad. The focus is on a group of mercenaries and anti-heroes familiar from various Marvel productions. The main characters include Super Soldier John Walker, Special Agent Yelena Belova, and Bucky Barnes. The team is also made up of well-known characters such as Taskmaster and the Red Guardian. The Thunderbolts set off on a dangerous mission in which they encounter Sentry, a mighty character who makes its first appearance in the MCU. The first trailers already suggest that the unusual team will keep viewers entertained with a mixture of humor and action. Thunderbolts opens in movie theaters on May 2nd, 2025. In the Fantastic Four: First Steps, the 4 heroes make their long-awaited debut in the MCU. The story takes place in an alternate version of the 1960s. In other words, not in the usual timeline of the MCU movies. The Fantastic Four have to face a familiar opponent, the Silver Surfer, who is in fact already known from previous films. This time, however, as in the comics, the role is filled by the wife of the first Surfer, played by Julia Garner. The rest of the cast is not lacking when it comes to famous names either. Reed Richards, for example, is played by Hollywood star Pedro Pascal. The role of Sue Storm is played by British actress Vanessa Kirby. Her brother Johnny is played by Joseph Quinn, who is probably best known to many as Eddie Munson from Stranger Things. And there's of course Ben Grimm, played by Eben Moss-Backrack. Another villain the group will have to deal with is none other than the World Devourer Galactus. He'll be played by Game of Thrones actor Ralph Ineson. Many fans are also hoping for a first small appearance by Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. Perhaps in the post-credit scene? The Fantastic Four: First Steps is set to hit theaters on July 25th, 2025. One series that many of you may not yet be aware of is Marvel Zombies. It marks the return of some of the zombie Avengers we were already introduced to in What If? The miniseries will consist of 4 episodes and is part of the new Marvel Animated Universe. Those responsible have already announced that it will be very gory. The release date for Marvel Zombies is October 3rd, 2025. There are many questions surrounding the Disney Plus series Eyes of Wakanda, which will revolve around the country of the same name. It is a new animated series that will focus on previously unknown characters, brave warriors who search for stolen vibranium artifacts all over the world. Producer Brad Winderbaum first revealed that the series will deal with the history of Wakanda and the MCU in various eras. Eyes of Wakanda will debut on Disney Plus on August 6, 2025. Another interesting Marvel show awaits us with Wonder Man. The character has its origins in the 1964 comics, in which Simon Williams is charged with ionic energy. This gives him superhuman powers, reflexes, and quasi-immortality. During the day, Williams leads a life as a successful actor and stuntman, but at night, he slips into the role of Wonder Man and puts his extraordinary powers to use to save the world. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, known for example from the DC films centered around Aquaman, takes on the leading role. Ben Kingsley also returns as Trevor Slattery, a role he already played in Iron Man 3 and Shang-Chi. Scarlet Witch plays an important role in the comics as well. As a result, there's speculation that we could also see Elizabeth Olsen in this series. The writer of Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in charge of the script. This suggests a rather humorous tone, which has already been hinted at in Marvel's Look Ahead trailer. An exact release date has not been set yet, but Marvel is targeting a Disney Plus release of Wonder Man in December 2025. This was a legendary appearance. At San Diego Comic-Con 2024, Marvel presented the return of Robert Downey Jr. to the MCU, this time as the villain Dr. Doom in Avengers 5 Doomsday. And it got even better. The Russo brothers, directors of Infinity War and Endgame, will also be directing Avengers 5 and Part 6. The exact composition of the superhero team remains unclear. Benedict Cumberbatch recently announced that Doctor Strange will not be involved, but the Sorcerer is set to play a major role in the sequel. Instead, however, the Fantastic Four will be involved in the next Avengers movie as Doctor Doom's classic opponents. Spider-Man is very likely to be involved as well. Kevin Feige has repeatedly stressed the great importance of the character for the MCU. It is interesting to note that it has already been confirmed that both Hayley Atwell as Peggy Carter and Chris Evans will be in Avengers 5. But how the actor will be involved remains a secret. After all, he originally celebrated his farewell as Steve Rogers in Avengers Endgame and passed on his shield to Anthony Mackie. The latter will lead the Avengers as the new Captain America in the new movies. The exciting question of whether we will see Chris Hemsworth as Thor remains open. According to the comics, the 2 new Avengers movies should aim to have Doctor Doom create the so-called Battle World, a massive battleground where all sorts of heroes have to fight each other. At the end of the multiverse saga, Avengers Secret Wars could even pit the heroes against the X-Men. The first part, Avengers Doomsday, will be released on May 1st, 2026. In 2024, it was announced that superhero Vision would also be getting his own series. Set after the events of Wanda's Vision, it will follow the formerly deceased character on his further journey. Paul Bettany will of course once again take on the role of Wanda's android lover. The showrunner was originally supposed to be WandaVision creator Jack Schaefer again, but she then decided to fully devote herself to Agatha all along instead. Terry Matalas, who was previously in charge of Star Trek Picard, has since taken over the project. His work on that series reportedly made a big impression on the Marvel management team. The Vision Quest series is due to be released sometime in 2026. After the emotional ending of No Way Home, fans are wondering what will happen next for Peter Parker. While Marvel and Sony were at odds over this, the pre-production of Spider-Man 4 was repeatedly pushed back. Currently, filming is scheduled to start in the fall of 2025. Apart from Tom Holland, there are some rumors about the roles in the new film. Allegedly, this time around, Zendaya's MJ will only play a minor role. In fact, Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, is set to take up more screen time instead, having already made a small appearance in the predecessor. There's also speculation about the god of the symbiotes, Null. After all, according to insider rumors at least, the title of the new Spider-Man film is King in Black. The team behind the scenes remains largely the same, with one important exception. The director of the first 3 movies has quit the project. Instead, Destin Daniel Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi, is taking over the production this time. Spider-Man 4 is officially scheduled for release on July 23, 2026. Given that filming is currently planned to start in the fall of 2025, however, this seems rather unrealistic. This was the complete Marvel lineup for the next 2 years. Here's a little tip. If you don't want to miss any news about the movies and series, why not get the KinoCheck app on your smartphone? That way you won't miss any exciting news or the latest trailers. What do you think of the new projects? Do you believe Marvel is finally turning things around and returning to the old days? We look forward to reading your opinion in the comments.